Hi, and welcome to the dinner agenda. This is Bo.
And this is CeeLo.
Hello, CeeLo.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I feel like I'm stuck in a gas chamber down here. I'm in my basement and I walked the dog this morning.
Yeah.
Everything is fine, everything is good. And then we come back here and she's had the farts ever since. And so
Oh,
it reeks. It reeks down here. I'm I'm a little bit like, let's just stop recording. I need to change rooms due to my dog's ass gas.
you know what? Dogs' farts are the fucking worst.
Oh,
They smell so bad. I don't know how that's even possible, like how it can smell that, but they are the worst smell, aren't
yeah.
they?
Well, I
Okay.
I have a teenage boy in the house, so they're good. I don't know if they're the worst, but they're definitely up there.
I don't know. I think dog farts are the smelliest, even over teenage boys. I'm gonna go with that because they are like pungent,
Pungent
like pungent.
bombs.
And did you know? Okay, so I really didn't know this. So I had a dog, Chico, who passed away in 2013,
Yeah.
and we got two cats afterwards, right? And that was my first experience with cats. So I was quite familiar with dog farts and how smelly they are, but I didn't think like I had never heard anything about cat farts. And we've now had these girls for like I don't know, right? Like 10, 11 years or
Yeah.
so. And only recently did I ever catch one of them farting. Like,
Really?
it was just recently. I didn't think that cats farted, but they
And
do,
did you get, like,
and it's
actual
smelly too.
did you get, like, was it proof, like, you saw it happen? It
Yes.
wasn't like, I can smell something, and then you
No,
were like, "What is that?" And
no.
Dave's like, "That must be the cat farting." And you're like, "Oh, okay." But meanwhile, it was really him?
No, it was like you heard a little from the cat,
Yeah.
and then it was really smelly, and I'm like, "Oh my god." So then I texted Dave right away. I'm like, "Oh my god, Mabel just farted." I was so surprised. However, yeah, I'm sure that Dave would blame farts on the cats
On
if
the
he
cat.
could.
Yeah.
I actually blame the cats on stealing his chips. So,
Oh,
like, if he leaves an unopened bag of chips anywhere in the office here and I happen to see them, sometimes they make their way into my mouth,
yeah.
but then I blame the cats,
Yes. That
so
I don't know how much cats eat chips. I know my dog would eat fucking anything, like, let's be
yeah,
honest. One
yeah,
time she can jump really high, and if you don't push in all the chairs, then she's up on the counter or the table or whatever,
yeah.
and we had a box of, I don't know, I think it was, like, Greek treats or eclairs or something like that, and she got
Mhm.
up there, knocked the box down, ate half of these things, and I'm like, I'm gonna kill this dog. She got up on the actual counter in the kitchen because we had
Oh my
something,
gosh.
a box, or I think a cooler kind of parked there to be
Yeah.
put away, and she used that basically as a step to get up on the counter, knocked the butter container off,
Oh god.
okay, and ate the butter.
Oh my god, she must have had diarrhea for days, did she?
I remember it not being pleasant the next couple days, but I don't remember
Oh,
it being too bad. She's a Cocker
really?
Spaniel, and I feel like Cockers are just, like, total food whores.
Actually, they are. I remember your older sister had, Cocker Spaniels as well, or
Yeah.
1, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
2.
and 2, that's right, and, they were food horse for sure.
Total food horse.
Yeah, 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 I don't know. Oh, well. Well, enjoy your dog fart, smell in your basement.
Well, thanks for that. How's your week been? What have you been up to?
You know what? Renos, but we've made some decisions, which is actually really good. So we've started, actually making purchases of things and signing on the dotted line for certain things to get done. One of the big challenges that we're having right now is so our house is about 30 years old, maybe, yeah, 35 years old, maybe.
Yeah.
So we didn't buy it, like we're not the first owners. We're like the third owners of it.
Mhm.
But I don't think they made the spaces for the fridges big enough back then because we actually got a really good deal on the current fridge that we have right now. Probably about 6 years ago, there was this friend of ours who had this refurbished fridge, It was huge. It was like one of those 36-inch wide fridges, and it was, it was great. Anyways, he was going to sell it to us for $500, and it was still in great working order. And so we did that, and we brought it home, but it wouldn't fit underneath the kitchen cabinet. So we
Oh.
actually had my brother come over and
Like, it was
help.
too tall.
Yeah, it was too tall. The fridge
Ah,
was too tall. So my brother and my husband, got together, and they actually moved up that section of the cupboard, and so then it fit, which is great. Here's now this dilemma now. So this fridge is on its way out now. So we need to replace it with a new one. You know that we're renovating the main floor because
yeah,
I had mentioned that, and we're going to be putting in some new floors. Now, what we've actually discovered is that, it is super, super pricey to actually remove flooring, especially tile floor. It's really expensive, and then to replace it, so, is also quite expensive. So one of the things that we've been advised is that we can actually um, put vinyl tile on top of the ceramic tile in the kitchen, and it's a super easy process. And the vinyl tiles that they have now, a lot of them look like you can't even tell the difference. Like, you can't even tell that you're not walking on ceramic tile, right? Like, some of them are so superior right now. Well, I guess in this day and age, right?
yeah,
And so that's fine, but that's going to increase the height even further
yeah,
underneath that cabinet. So now that we have to replace the fridge, we are struggling, CeeLo, to find a fridge that is like, short enough,
yeah,
that will fit under there. It's a real struggle. So we're not quite sure how we're gonna manage this one yet.
yeah.
Not quite sure.
Well, we did our kitchen maybe not like after we bought our house, probably 20 years ago. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
And it was a built, like not a built-in, but like a counter depth space for the fridge, and everything was great. Fridge
yeah,
was great. Then the fridge died, and we had to replace the
yeah,
fridge like I guess about a year ago.
yeah.
And they don't make them that size anymore. They're all
They don't.
different now. So there was like basically one brand, one fridge that fit into the spot that our old fridge was in.
What
And
brand? Do you remember?
it's
Do
called
you
a
know what we have?
Fisher Paykel.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. And it fits and it's great. And I feel like all bougie now because it has a ice maker. Ooh, ooh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So I
So
was
it's
happy
called
for that.
Fisher Pytel.
Paykel,
Pykel?
Paykel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that one worked, but it has the water in it and it has the ice making, and that just makes my life
Okay.
so much easier.
Okay.
Mm.
I'm gonna take a look at that and see, what they have,
Yeah,
because, um,
it's ex
it does not matter what size I choose, like, unless I get a very small fridge,
yeah,
right? Which is, not gonna be happening.
no.
But, like an apartment size one, right? They're all like 68, 69, 70 inches or whatever tall, and it's like, "Oh my god." So, I'm sure I'm not the only one having this dilemma, but, I hate renos. Did I tell you that?
I think you might
I
have
hate
mentioned
them.
that in the last couple of episodes, yeah.
Hate them. Hate them.
I think
Okay.
it's fun once you get to the decision point and you're kinda moving forward, then it feels a
Yes.
little bit better. Then you're just
Sure.
all, like, spending all your money. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I do. So I think dinner's on you next time we meet up.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. All right. What's on the agenda?
What's on the agenda? So today, I think it would be fun to talk about conspiracy theories.
Ooh, we're gonna do this one now. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
right?
Great, great, great. I've been looking forward to this one. I got lots to
Um,
say.
I think it's kind of cool just to kind of talk about basically how crazy people are
Yeah,
about these
yeah,
conspiracy theories, and then it kind of makes you feel better about yourself because then you're like, I may be a little crazy, but I am not that fucking crazy. There are
yeah.
definitely crazier people out there.
Oh, yeah. I know, I
You know
know.
what I'm saying?
I
Although
do, and
when I was doing okay, wait, when I was doing,
Mhm,
like, a little bit of, Googling on this, now I feel like I'm
mhm.
gonna get a whole bunch of, like, ads and, like, things to try and sucker me into conspiracy theories because I was looking them all up on my computer.
So your algorithm is pooch now. You're gonna
Yeah,
be
exactly, exactly. The analytics are gonna get me, man.
They are.
Yeah,
Oh my god. It's so funny. I knew of conspiracy theories prior to COVID, obviously,
yeah,
right? But the whole COVID experience really seemed to accelerate, um, the kind of conspiracy theories and the type and the amount. I mean, in my eyes, anyways, I mean, maybe it just made me more aware of
Yeah.
actual groups out there that were kind of promoting these conspiracy theories. But I know that they've been around forever, right? I mean, when you're living in a society of people, there's going to be varying beliefs. I remember back when I was in college, my English professor in college, he was saying to us, gosh, and this would have been, the 90s, right?
Yeah.
So he was saying to us, and AIDS at that point was still kind of in the mainstream, like it was still kind of talked about quite a bit because it
Yeah.
was still kind of new-ish, if you will,
Yep.
and HIV and stuff. And so he was basically saying that the HIV virus was caused by some experimental vaccine that they were testing out on chimpanzees in Africa, in some remote area in Africa. And some of the tribesmen who live there, sometimes they would kill these chimpanzees and either eat them or maybe
Ew.
have sexual relations with them or something along those lines. I know, but this is just what he was saying. And that's apparently how humans caught HIV. That's what he was saying.
Okay.
But then he was also saying that he had worked in some lab and that he said there are actual cures for the common cold, but they won't release them because if they do, there's going to be such a huge depression created because there's all these, the drug companies employ so many people, based on, people buying these medications. And if you get rid of the common cold and these medications aren't needed anymore, you destroy millions and millions of jobs out there. So I'm just saying back in the 90s, this was this guy kind of sharing this information. I just remember going, oh my god, I wonder if that's true or not, like,
Right.
that was my first kind of exposure to it.
Yeah. Well, in my mind, this man should
Mhm.
not be teaching people, for starters. For fuck's sakes. Like,
Yeah,
oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
god. Even stuff that my daughter comes home and talking about a teacher, and she's like, "So and so said
Yeah,
this in class." And I'm like, "What? Teacher said that?" I can't get over
yeah,
it. But anyway,
yeah.
that
Well, do
aside,
you think that's very far-fetched from what he was saying? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's I do. I think it's pretty far-fetched.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, for me, I don't consider myself a conspiracy theorist at all. Like, I'm not one of those, like, off the chain kind of. But there is some of me that says, no, don't laugh when I say but. There is some of me that's kind of like, listen, who the fuck are we to like on certain things? I mean, in terms of like the cure for the common cold, I do kind of think that that could be real. Like,
Okay. But, like,
but the whole HIV thing, probably not,
the whole, like,
is how I think.
tribes having sex with
Well,
chimpanzees,
that
like, I mean, come on,
okay, that yeah.
okay? Let's just, like, put that to bed. That's fucked up. You
Listen,
are
farmers used to have sex with their sheep. So it's not unusual. Not that I'm saying that it's okay. I'm just saying there's some fucked up stuff that goes
not
on out
that
in
I'm
this
saying
world.
it's okay. Did that sheep give consent? You don't even know, so why would you even
I
judge the
know.
poor farmer? Anyway, I
It's
feel like you are probably one of the most gullible people I know, and
listen, are you for fucking real?
I love
Am
you. I really do, and I love the gullibility, to be perfectly honest with you, because I can pull
You're
shit over
such a
on you all the
whore
time,
bag.
literally.
Okay.
But the whole, like, cold, industry, like
Yeah.
cough and
Yeah.
cold kind of thing, I
Yeah.
absolutely like, I lean on the side of science, right? That how is it possible that they couldn't have created some kind of, um, solution or whatever to the common cold by now? Like, that makes no sense to me. And so the fact that there's money involved in that industry, absolutely, like,
Mhm.
that to me makes perfect logical sense.
Right.
Also, though, I feel like maybe there's science behind the fact that you need to build those immunities, and when you have those colds, your body builds immunities to things,
Sure.
and so maybe there's, like, science
Yeah.
behind that side of it too, that,
Yeah.
you'd be walking around and then everyone
Yeah.
is immune to or everyone has a solution,
Yeah.
right, to the common cold, and then and somebody gets it and they could die from it more easily if your immune system doesn't know how to fight shit like that. You know what I mean?
I
There's
do
gotta
actually,
be some
that
science
actually
there.
makes yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense with what you're saying there too. There could be that as well. I'm just gonna let you, like, and I hear you truly, and that is also quite valid. Also, there is a friend of mine whose son um, was born with a very rare genetic mutation that would paralyze him and stop his brain from developing from the age of 2 or 3 onwards. And they were in a desperate run to find a cure for him. And there was gene therapy that had been tested at one point that was showing promise for this rare genetic mutation.
Yeah.
But the problem is that there just was not enough cases in the world. Like this one child was like 1 in a million in Canada. So like that's how like little the cases were. And so the problem was that because there weren't enough cases in the world, there wasn't enough money to fund this
Totes.
this cure because they wouldn't make enough profit off of it. So they just scrapped it. This guy ended up, no joke, CeeLo, he actually raised $3 million on his own to actually pay for that gene therapy to be tested and then released so that he could save his son. And he fucking did it. He
Wow.
fucking did it. But the point is, why I'm bringing this up is I hear you with what you're saying because it's quite logical in terms of the common cold, building immunities, all that other stuff. And I'm sure that that's part of it as well. But I also think that there is some other ulterior motives out there as well that we may just not be aware of as to, why certain things may still be continuing in terms of illnesses.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I can't say 100% for sure.
I know that there's gotta be money wrapped around all of this
Yeah.
shit, right? Like, that's what
Doesn't money and power and dominance control fucking everything?
yes.
Right? Yeah.
It's what
So
motivates me to get up every day, to be honest. Um,
money, power, and yeah, okay.
but
And fame from
yeah,
the podcast.
and fame and podcast fame.
Yes.
I I think it was funny. What did you say at the beginning where you were like, "Oh, the when COVID hit and how the conspiracy theories kind of
No, I
started."
think I said you're a whore bag in the beginning,
Mhm,
but yeah, okay,
fuck
fine.
off. Um,
Yeah,
it
tell me.
was that, but it was also so much around, like, the US political scene that I feel
Yes.
like there was a whole bunch of shit being put out on that, but and
Yeah.
then, like and COVID in and around the same time, it kind of so with
Yeah.
COVID, there was one which I thought was particularly hilarious that the virus is being spread through, like, 5G
Yes.
network intentionally created and spread through 5G. So what does that mean?
Yes.
Like, if I hold my phone too close to my head, I'm gonna get the COVID? Like
You know what's funny about that though? There were actually, so like there are celebrities, there are people that are known in this world that they also believe those theories as well. And I actually remember reading at one point that after some celebrities had spread that theory that you could catch it through the 5G network, um, some folks actually set cell phone towers on fire because they were
oh
trying
my god.
to get rid of, yes, I'm telling you. So, I mean, that shit's from my perspective is a little batshit crazy,
Yeah, I
like
feel
that's
like
just a
that
little bit whatever.
5G is batshit.
But I'm gonna tell you, there are people out there, CeeLo, that are adamant that these things are true. Like I have one friend who unfortunately I've had to kind of limit a lot of contact with because since COVID, she went down that rabbit hole of believing all of these conspiracy theories to the point where we could not even have a conversation about anything other than the fact that
Yeah.
she was insisting I go and buy food and store it and learn how to use a gun and buy a gun. and how
Kind of
she also,
doomsday-ish.
yeah, she also believed that 5G was a true theory as
She was a
well.
5G-er.
Yeah, yeah. She also said that COVID-19 doesn't actually exist.
Mm.
So she was adamant that this was just a flu. This was the being done to us, or being communicated to
It
us.
is just a flu.
No, but what she was saying was is that the media and the government and the deep state, or whatever that was called, um, was saying this to the public because they wanted the public to stay behind closed doors, because the oh my god, I'm going to try to remember what she was saying. The white hats, I don't, I'd have to look up exactly what these guys are, but the white hats were apparently some good people that were trying to fight the deep state, and they had to go to war, and so they were trying to keep the people inside the houses, so that way this war could go on, and the white hats could win, victory and freedom for all of us.
Wow.
And yeah, like, it was that, to that fucking extent, and I was just like, girl, you have a
Girl,
problem.
please.
Yeah,
Um,
like, you got a little problem going on there.
there was
Yeah,
also yeah, a little bit, right? Like,
yeah, yeah.
I I don't know. I don't know. I'm not gonna say anything. There was
Well,
also
no, you should say it, because we're talking about this. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that it's batshit crazy to think that all of that is fake. That what we like
The COVID, you mean?
I
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, and I
Yeah,
just
agreed, agreed.
it frustrates me. I definitely knew people, um, like, that had
Mhm,
that didn't believe in COVID and didn't believe in getting the vaccine, didn't believe in wearing
mhm,
masks, like, I mean, there was obviously people all over the news, but I know people that were impacted
mhm.
by it that no longer speak to, like, close family members because they got wrapped up in all of that. And
That's my
and then it
friend,
was like,
bro.
"Well, I can't have you over to my house unless you've kinda been vaccinated and you're not fucking
Yeah,
crazy."
yeah.
But there was a lot of talk also, still to this day actually, that it
Mhm,
was, that the virus came from, that it was, created. It was
mhm,
biological warfare type of created, although
mhm,
I don't know if I buy that. I think if I was creating some kind of bio warfare, it would be
mhm,
more severe than what we saw
mhm,
during COVID. Not that COVID wasn't severe, but you know what I mean? To
mhm.
take out whole sections of the population.
Yeah, I
But
don't know. I mean, it's interesting that you mentioned that one. There was this wanna call it a documentary, I guess, on, Netflix early on, in when COVID was still kind of early in its stages, right?
yeah,
Where, the lockdowns had just started, worldwide. It was about what happened in China, and how things kind of, because I think China was the first country that locked down, if
yeah,
I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
And so they were talking to some doctor, or interviewing some doctor, or they had recording of some doctor who had basically said that he, noticed the virus, first appear, in China, and he began to raise the alarm bells, to the government, and he was quickly shut down and whisked away and disappeared. And so it kind of talked a little bit about how the Chinese government there, kind of tried to downplay it, and not actually release an alert, out to the world,
yeah,
because
yeah, I
they
remember that.
wanted to get, folks out of the country, and their folks back into the country. So there was that kind of stuff. So when I think about that, and I'm not saying that any of that is true either, but I'm just saying, when I think about and hear about things like that, we also know that there are, I mean, I would assume that even the US and Canada and pretty much every country is probably looking at some kind of, biological warfare in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
I think it could be possible that it may have leaked out by accident, but just
I just
possible. I'm
like
not saying that it did, but I'm
I
just saying that would be a little bit more
yes.
believable to me
I
than
believe, like,
5G.
science and labs and
Yeah.
probably creating different flus, probably in the hopes that they could then create some kind of vaccine for different flus. But the
Yeah.
whole bio warfare thing, it's like, yes, I'm gonna create something that targets immune compromised people and old people. Like, what's the
Yeah. That,
fucking point
yeah.
of that? That makes no sense to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that I agree with, yeah, I do agree with that, yeah, yeah.
Um, there was also, talk about it being, completely engineered by the media, like
Yes,
CNN,
yeah,
right?
yes,
And it was like an attempt to control the population and stuff like that.
yes, that's right. They were culling the population,
Yeah,
that's what they were doing, yes, 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 they were getting rid of the old people. You know, this friend that I was
they were
telling you
getting
about.
rid of the old people.
Yeah, yeah, the old and the weak. That's yeah. This friend of mine, I mean, I believe, that, at one point she had stated something along the lines of, and I'm not joking, CeeLo, when I say this,
Mhm.
that the Holocaust was not real.
Oh my
Because
god.
yeah, because that's what this QAnon group was saying. The Holocaust was not real, that Hitler was actually not a bad guy. Like, this is how far out these conspiracy theories went and how.
I couldn't be friends with someone like that.
No, 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 and see, that's what I'm saying, that's why things had to be limited with her. She went really, really cuckoo bananas.
Yeah.
She had a mother who was, older, much older, who was not well. She had some physical illnesses, and the mother actually, just before COVID hit, they were looking at, old age homes to put her in because, she, wasn't doing very well on her own. She was living with my friend, because my friend was having to take care of her. My friend actually stopped that process because she so adamantly believed that the vaccines were tracking you, that there were those microchips in those vaccines. So she refused. Yeah, I know. So she refused to get vaccinated and she refused to let her mom get vaccinated. And what she had said to her mom was, if you go into one of those homes, they're going to force you to be vaccinated. And then I can't be around you. So she actually kept her mom at home and they stayed there together during the whole shutdown of the pandemic. And she would not allow her mom to have friends over because her friends were either vaccinated and she didn't want to get the there's like it escapes off of your skin. I can't remember what that's called, but do you know what I'm talking about? Where they say it sheds off of your skin, the vaccine
No.
or whatever, and then it goes into them, and also because they insisted on wearing masks. And she said, nobody that I know is going to ever walk into my house with a mask on. And I remember early on, I had lunch with her. This was very early on before I realized how far gone she was going with these conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
She actually said to me, she goes, oh, you know what? We've been out for lunch for an hour. I have to go. And I said, what's wrong? Like, it was just like, all of a sudden I was like,
Yeah.
what's wrong? Like, what's happened? She goes, you are shedding the vaccine and I can feel it. My body's in pain. I can feel it. I have to go. I have to get away from you. I was just like, oh my fucking God. She's gone off the deep end, this
Were
one.
you
Like,
farting?
she's
Were you just farting? Is that what she was sensing, your farts?
no, it's all my cats. My cat did it. No, it wasn't. But you know what I mean? Like, it's nuts,
Okay.
CeeLo. It's crazy.
Yeah. It is totally crazy. Equally as
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
that the earth is flat.
Yes.
But this has picked up steam as of late, and
I know. I know.
there's, like, this whole flat earth society.
I know.
More and more people are believing that the world is flat and stationary rather than, like,
I know.
our round earth. I
Yeah.
totally went down a Google rabbit hole with this. There's, like,
Did you?
conventions in different countries.
Are
There's,
you
like, a
serious?
decent percentage of the population that actually
Okay.
believe this.
CeeLo, I have a suggestion here
Yeah.
that I think would be fucking hilarious. I think you and I should fly to a convention
Yes.
under the guise of, yeah, the world is flat. And let's do a podcast
We'll
from
go
there.
live.
Let's
We'll go
yeah,
live from the Flat Earth convention.
let's do it. Let's do it. That would be hysterical.
And it just, like, I don't
Yeah.
understand how it's like all the pictures that we have of the earth are fake. The
Well,
government
because
the government is
yeah,
trying to pull the wool over on us. Like, it
yeah,
just
I know. And one of the things, and I don't know if this is where this is stemming from, but I think one of the things that QAnon or whoever it was that was kind of starting all of these things, they had mentioned that we had never actually landed on the moon, that was
Yeah,
fake. It
total.
was fake footage. Yeah.
Well, I think with the flat Earth, I don't even know
Mhm.
if they believe there is a moon, so there's that.
What?
It's also
Really?
it's also anti-science that I just for
Yeah.
someone who didn't really do that well in science class back in the day, I am total pro
Yeah.
science. Like, the whole
Yeah.
logicalness of it makes sense to me, right?
Yeah. 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 I hear you. Okay, so here's another one. Tell me what you think about this
Okay,
one.
go.
Michelle Obama is actually a man.
Yeah, I knew that already.
Did you know that one? Okay, so I
No, I meant like
so
I knew it and believed it. I was trying to make a joke.
oh,
Yeah.
no, okay. I thought you meant you knew
No,
that was
I
a
had I
conspiracy
don't think
theory
I'd
out there,
heard
not
that
that you
one.
believed
I
it.
hadn't heard that one.
So there were these 2 things that my friend had shown me. There were 2 pictures. One of them was of Michelle Obama, and it was her walking. And as she was walking, the pleats in her pant had kind of buckled up a little bit, right? And she's like, "Look, see? She has a penis. She has a penis." And I'm just like, "It's her fucking pant pleat." Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what that is. But my friend was adamant, "No, it's a penis. You're just not seeing it. You're refusing to believe it because you're a sheep. You're a sheep and you're asleep."
Oh my, is that like one of their, like, chants? "You're a sheep, you're asleep."
Yeah. You're a sheep. You're a sheep. She would call me a sheep.
Say that 10 times when
Y
intoxicated.
It's true.
Also,
Yeah.
who the fuck cares? Even if she was, who cares?
She's
I don't care. I
not.
know, but you know what I'm saying?
I do, but it's just so stupid. It's just so stupid. It's dumb. She's not.
Okay.
Also,
Yes,
Justin Trudeau
yes.
apparently had an ankle monitor on him because he was being controlled by the deep state, is what she had said. And so she had showed me a picture of Justin Trudeau, where he was walking and the wind had kind of caught his pants and there was like a little bit of a bubble looking, you know, pant bubble,
A
if you will,
a
towards
a
his
cuff, a pant
cuff, whatever,
cuff.
ankle, whatever it was. And she was insisting that that was,
I think if our prime
uh
minister was on house arrest with an ankle monitor, somehow we would know about it. There was a
no, no, see, this is where you're wrong, CeeLo,
oh,
because according to this conspiracy theorists, everything is made up. We only see what the media and the government want us to see. So, as an example, I was told by this friend that when Biden won the presidency in the US,
mhm.
that was not actually true. That was just the deep state fooling everybody.
Oh my
And
god, that's
anytime that I no, wait, listen,
okay,
listen.
go.
Anytime I saw anytime anybody would see, Biden on TV, it was a green screen. It wasn't really him, it was AI and it was a green screen. But behind the scenes, Trump was the one really running the country. That's what she truly believed.
This whole, like, US political crap, I
Mhm.
just don't I don't I
I don't get it either.
it's kind of enraging to me that there's so much time and effort spent into this fakeness. Okay.
I know.
Okay, I found one that I found specifically for you
What?
because it revolves around Disney.
Oh, I love
I
Disney.
know you're a Mickey
I
Mouse head.
love Disney. Yeah.
Okay, so you know that there was lots of rumors always way back when that Walt Disney used, like, cryogenics, right? Like, he froze himself after he died. Had you heard
I'm
those?
sorry, no. What?
Okay, so
I
that
did not know.
yeah, that was
Okay.
a long-standing kind of rumor that he wanted to basically be, frozen after he died, and then hopefully one day in the future, I guess, they would have the
Mhm.
technology to bring him back
Mhm.
from the frozen.
Okay.
And so
All right.
now the conspiracy theory is that that's why Disney created the movie Frozen, so that when
What?
you search for Disney and Frozen, you would get more stuff on the movie that came out versus the crazy conspiracy rumors around Walt Disney being cryogenically frozen.
My god. So they were just trying so their thoughts were that this was happening so that we would not find information on
Right.
Walt Disney. Are you fucking kidding me?
I'm not kidding
Don't
you.
touch my Frozen movie that way. It was a beautiful movie. Really?
Do you wanna build a snowman?
I do.
Isn't that nice?
I do.
That was a
But,
cute movie.
that it is a very cute movie, but that is, nuts.
Yeah, a little bit nuts, right?
Yeah, that is nuts. So, it's bizarre because so about that being frozen and that kind of stuff. Um, that reminds me of Wayfair. I remember there was a thing
Wayfair,
going
like the
on.
shopping place? Like the
Yeah,
online
the
shopping?
shopping site. Yeah, which I have used several times and absolutely love. I've gotten some really great things from there. But apparently, um, there were certain things where people were starting to notice that they would have like a dresser drawer for sale for $35,000. And instead of thinking, "Oh my gosh, that's a coding error on the system,"
Yeah.
right? Because you're not, the conspiracy theorists grabbed onto that, and they basically said they're selling children under the pretense of like it being this, this article that you're buying. But so what they would do is they would show like all these like things like a small little handheld fan, something that will cost like let's say 20 bucks, and it was listed on there for like 40,000 or 50,000, and that's what they were saying, no, that's code for selling children. So there was that whole thing that was going on where like Wayfair was selling children. Yeah, that was one of them.
That is madness.
No, I know, CeeLo, I know it is. It is.
I don't understand how people fall for shit like that. That like, it just
Well,
makes absolutely no sense to me.
so it doesn't make sense to me either. I have some theories on that. But before I talk about that, I wanted to ask you about Tom Hanks because I love Tom Hanks.
Yeah, I love Tom
I
Hanks.
do. But during this whole thing, they were like, the conspiracy theorists were like, he's a pedophile and he's kidnapped children and he's holding them in his basement. And I was just so disappointed with that one
I
because I
feel
just
like
love him so much.
I feel like that kind of, spiraled up and out of control not long after he and his wife tested positive for COVID. Like, they were one of the first,
Yeah,
like, celebrities that
they
had
were.
kind of announced or
Yeah,
whatever that they had it. And then it felt
yeah,
like the conspiracy theories, but there was that whole again, the US political
yeah.
thing that there was a whole bunch of, swirling things around,
Save the children,
popular
right? Mhm.
Democratic like,
Yeah,
known to be on the Democratic side celebrities, and there was a whole bunch of stories coming out about them being pedophiles, and he said keeping children in their basement, but
yeah,
that's just Tom Hanks.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so you had asked,
It's like
about, why people fall for this. So I I have a belief that, and I'm open to, debate this or open to suggestions because I'm not saying I know, you know what I mean? But it's just my thought at this time.
yeah,
I think that so first of all, these conspiracy theories and the groups that kind of formed during COVID to kind of say, oh, COVID's not real, and all these crazy things are true, like children being held in the basements of pizza shops and all that other stuff. To me, it sounds very much like a cult. It really honestly
it
does. It
totally
sounds like a
does
cult.
sound like a cult,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think I used to believe, and I still believe that, why people are so susceptible to falling for cults is because they're searching for something, right? Like they're searching for some type of belonging,
Yeah,
some type of community that they don't have. They're struggling with something and they're looking for an escape or a way to deal with that. And, finding people that, kind of come together and show kind of like community and support makes them feel part of something and it helps them deal. Like I think it's all related to unresolved issues on their part that makes them so susceptible to falling for cults
yeah.
and kind of getting in there. I don't know. What do you think?
That whole, like, insecure,
Mhm.
um I guess insecure, not confident in themselves, not confident enough to challenge these different ideals, like regardless whether
Yeah.
it's a conspiracy theory or even a cult, that kind of thing. I
Yeah.
just I don't know, it kind of scares me because I've seen,
Yeah.
one too many documentaries because 'cause I'm fascinated by this shit, and I'm fascinated
Yeah.
by what gets people kind of roped into thinking about it or
Mhm.
roped
Mhm.
into believing it, and what is it about that,
Mhm.
either the concept, whichever, that the cult might be, all about, or, like,
Yeah.
the leader that people are
Mhm.
so drawn to. It just boggles my mind.
I think fear drives a lot of it too, right? Like, if you're unsure, I mean, especially COVID, think about what happened with COVID. I mean, when it first hit,
Yeah,
right? When it first hit, um, and I'll never forget, I had met that particular friend that I kind of really have distance from, right?
yeah,
The day that it was no, it wasn't the day that it was announced as a pandemic. It was COVID had just kind of made its appearance
yeah,
in media, right? People were starting to talk about it, and it had not been listed as a pandemic yet, but the news stations were saying that's probably imminent, right? Like the World Health Organization
yeah,
was also
yeah,
saying that's probably imminent.
mhm,
And I was actually having lunch with this particular friend that day that they had said it's probably coming, right? The pandemic designation,
yeah,
and she was nervous. She was definitely nervous. So this was at the start. She hadn't fallen down that whole big rabbit hole yet of believing all those theories. But she was definitely nervous. Although she said, I question it and wonder if it's just a regular flu from what some of the things are that she has been hearing. But she was fearful. And she said, I think I'm going to go to the store and I'm going to stock up on some stuff in preparation because I'm just nervous that if they make this a pandemic, I don't know what that's going to look like for us. And I said, oh, yeah, probably a good idea because I've never lived through a pandemic either. I have no idea. But anyways, so that was that.
but that's
But
so like, I feel
as
like that's not that far off, right? Like, I think all of us
no,
kind of felt like that at the
yeah,
beginning. Like, I still went into the office on, like, the Monday thinking,
yeah,
"Okay, something's this bad flu is going around," or
yeah,
whatever, but we didn't
yeah.
know what it was gonna turn
We
into, and
That's right, we didn't, but the thing is, the point that I'm getting at is that the fear can sometimes be that catalyst, like, for us, we were like, "Yes, I'm nervous and I'm scared and I really don't know what to expect, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna listen to the news, I'm gonna watch the doctors that are, kind of, explaining, what should be doing to keep ourselves safe, and I'm gonna follow that, and, hope for the best kind
Mhm.
of thing." But that was how I was dealing with the fear of it. But for her and probably a lot of others, that fear made them gravitate towards trying to believe and make sense out of it. And I
Or
think that
yeah,
could have been what also brought them down that bad path of believing these
kinda
conspiracies,
that, like,
right? I
extreme
don't know.
panicky
Yeah.
kinda way.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think about it and it's like, I hope that I've raised my kids to be confident and
Mhm.
questioning, right? That don't just take it for granted when you read it on, on the web or whatever. There was something
Right.
else that had happened recently and Iz came to me and said, "So, have you heard about blah blah blah?" And I'm like, "What? Where the fuck did you even Oh,
Yeah.
so and so said it. It's going around school, blah 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 blah." I'm like, "Well, show me a reputable news source that's
Yeah.
saying the same thing, or show me something where you've done some research to say, these are the pros or the cons or the yeses or the nos or something like that, that it's
Mhm.
so important to teach them to
Mhm.
question stuff like that and not because there's so much crap out there. Like, even just Googling
There is.
on the conspiracy theories for this
Yeah.
episodes, I was like,
Mhm.
you could seriously go down a rat hole or
Yeah.
no, rat hole? Rabbit hole.
Rabbit. Rabbit.
Rabbit hole. You know what I meant.
Tomato, tomato.
Tomato,
Mhm.
tomato, yeah. So, yeah, it's scary to me that it's
Yeah.
easy for, people to get pulled in or sucked in for whatever reason, their
Yeah.
personality, their, lack of
Yeah.
confidence, whatever that is,
Yeah.
to get so sucked into it.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we you're 100% right. If we take a look at, because I think it might be a little interesting. So, um, we were talking about the cult, right?
Yeah,
It being
yeah.
kind of like a cult. Okay, so let's compare what's happened with these conspiracy theories versus what happens in a cult, and let's see what we think here.
Okay.
Okay, so
Talk to me.
so like a cult, okay? So there has to be a charismatic leader or some type of, right? Like powerful something, right?
Being.
So what I think QAnon would have been that, right? In the
Oh,
beginning?
yeah, I think for some of those
Yeah.
conspiracies, that's right up there.
Okay, so like that would have been the leader thing, and the ideological purity. So um for cults, it's like, discouraging members to, from questioning what the cult is saying, or what that religion is saying, or what that, group is saying.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I remember one of the times when I was questioning my friend, I said, you keep telling me that you're being advised that, the world is going to go into complete darkness, like all electricity and internet is going to be shut off for 30 days, and that's going to be coming in the next month.
Yeah,
Like, I remember her specifically telling me that, and she's like, you've got to get prepared, you've got to get prepared, like she kept saying that.
yeah.
And then, the month went by and nothing happened. And then 3 months went by and still nothing happened. And so I had said to her, I said, this is not the first time that you've told me this is what's going to happen. And it never comes true. So why do you still believe this? Like, this is
Right,
what I don't understand. And her response was, look it's interpretation. All they can do is give us, clues and tips, and it's up to us to decipher what that means, because for our true learning has to come from us being able to truly see the light of it. And I'm like, oh my god, so really what you're doing is not questioning it, because you're just being told it's your fault for not interpreting it properly? Like, that
right?
was just stupid. Okay,
That just
stupid.
feels like spiraling down there, man. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so then there's the conformity and control, right? So they're dictating what kinds of relationships they can have, and that's actually true, because
Oh, yeah,
think about,
totally. On the cult side? 100%.
yeah. Well, even with the conspiracy theories, remember what I told you about my friend, where she was like, "Look, if you want to wear a mask, you're not welcome into my home. If you're getting vaccinated, we can't socialize with each other." So right then and there, she was letting go of relationships.
And she
Her
was taking the opposite approach of what science was telling us to do.
Yeah,
Like,
that's right.
made no sense.
She actually cut
Mm.
off communication. So her mom would email back and forth with her sisters who were still living in another country.
Yeah,
And she actually cut off that communication with those aunts of hers, her mom's sisters, because they kept saying to her mom, really, stop listening to your daughter, go get yourself vaccinated.
yeah,
Right. And she was so upset that she cut off the relationship. And at the end, she had no friends left from her past, including me, right?
yeah,
Because we
yeah,
we rarely talk now. And she lost all of her family. It was just, and she was hanging out with just these people who believed in the same things that she believed in. So
yeah.
that was definitely conforming and being controlled, I would say,
Well, I
right?
was gonna say, and then the isolation, right? Like, you hear about that with different cults where they purposefully do things to separate you from
Yeah,
those, right? From your family members, from your friends. I've seen
right.
so many docs on cults where these moms are just beside themselves because their kid is so isolated and with this cult they can't even have a communication line, they can't ask
Yeah,
questions, they can't challenge, the kid has completely cut them out of their lives, and I'm like, my heart
yeah.
breaks for those moms, man.
Yeah, yeah, but it's that isolation, right? The isolation is what makes people more susceptible to staying there, because they have nobody else now,
Yeah, total.
and as human beings, we need to belong. Like, we need
Yeah,
some type of community,
yeah,
right? And so they get it from that side, and they just get in deeper and deeper, right? Um, the us versus them mentality, so I remember how my friend began talking to me. It was as if she had the secret to life and that I didn't, and that there was a sense of superiority um, with her beliefs. to the point where I think I had mentioned to you about we were going to talk a little bit about vaccines and stuff. And my husband had an adverse reaction to one of the vaccines. He actually got blood clots, which is one of the side effects. He was one of the the few that ended up with blood clots, but it was quite serious because the blood clot had, traveled close to his heart. So he had what they call a saddle embolism, and this blood clot was just sitting at the base of his a base of his heart, at the base of his lungs, and it was curbing his ability to breathe properly. So we
Right.
obviously had to go to the hospital to get that treated. But my friend actually said to me at one point, she said, he deserved that because he got the vaccine. He
Oh
deserved that.
my
And
god.
I said to her, yeah, at that point, I just said, "Listen, get out of my fucking car. Get out of my car. Get out of my fucking car. Call yourself an Uber, get yourself fucking home. I am not driving you home." Like, we were out. I was
Yeah.
so angry. I was like, "Fuck you. My husband almost died. You're such a little piece of shit." But anyways, so, but it's that superior kind of attitude that, because we weren't listening to this superior conspiracy theory group, that we deserved
Yeah,
these bad
you
things to
weren't
happen.
buying what she was selling. You were
Yeah,
completely on the opposite side of the spectrum, and so, yeah, totally. And then she finds that sense of
yeah,
belonging with the other people who believe the same thing, and then they just it's like a blob that just keeps growing and picking up all
yeah,
of these, people along
yeah.
the way.
Yeah, it's true. And then that fear that they keep kind of reiterating, which is like the world's going to end, or, like these major events are going to happen that are going to, be detrimental to the human race,
Yeah.
and that was constant. I was constantly being told by her, "I hope you have your 3 month supply of food. I hope you have, I hope you've bought a gun. I hope you've learned how to use a gun." It's just like,
I feel like I have a 6-month
ugh,
supply of food in this house. We have a lot of food. I
yeah,
think we could survive off of it. Water, maybe not, like,
that's,
we'd need to
yeah,
maybe
true. But
buy
your
some
son
water. He
has
eats.
a bottomless pit
Yeah,
of a stomach. Like, he can eat.
he can eat.
That's probably why you've got so much food.
I know, it's true, right? He has a hollow leg. I don't know where it all goes.
Yeah.
He's skinny, but he just keeps growing.
I know. Well, now I know where to go if
You
this
can always
apocalypse
come
happens.
here. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's crazy shit. I think the world has gone to shit. I think
I know,
I
right?
think
Well,
people have gone to shit. I
what's
don't get it.
even more scary now is,
Mhm.
like, what they can do with AI, right? Like, you
Yes.
can generate
Yes.
these pictures with AI and
Yeah.
voice and video and how
Yeah.
like, right now,
What do
even
you
with a
think?
good Photoshop, you may
Yeah.
not I could show you a picture and you may be looking at it like, "Oh my god, that is an ankle bracelet on Tom Hanks." You know what I mean?
I know. What do you think about that though, CeeLo? Like, does that concern you?
It's scary.
This AI stuff?
It
Yeah.
scares me because I feel like
Yeah.
those people who are, on the conspiracy theory cult side of things that don't
Yeah.
question it and that, take these things that you're like, "Really? I don't know if that's true." And they take it and
Yeah.
they run with it, right? So there's like that
Yeah.
far side over here. And then you have the other side of things that's like questioning beliefs in science, whatever. I feel
Yeah.
like what and it's almost like 2 polarized groups on either side, and what
Uh-huh.
AI is gonna do is it's gonna pull together, right? There's a whole bunch of people in the middle that could be influenced one way or the other, and all it's gonna
Uh-huh.
do is take one decent AI video or AI picture to have people who are not gonna question it or not gonna,
Yeah.
believe in the science or I don't know,
Mhm.
that whole thing scares me for sure. It scares
Yeah,
me.
I feel the same as you do. I really do. I know that, if you talk to a conspiracy theorist, they will say, "Oh, no, I do all the research. I do all the research." But what they're researching is the
Other whack
media.
jobs websites.
Yeah, it's like they're not looking at everything that's out there. They're focusing on what they
Yeah,
believe is truth, like true news and true
yeah.
media, like that kind of stuff. So it's all skewed. I think that this has honestly been around forever. I think that, even back when, what was it? There was one of those plagues that happened back in was it the late 1800s, early 1900s?
Something like that.
And about 100 years ago, something along those lines, let's
Mhm.
say. And they had the same type of things where people were refusing to get vaccinated, even though they had come out with a vaccine. So I think that this has been around for all time, right? I just
Absolutely.
feel like it's gone off the chain this time around. Like it's gotten so bad. And I think part of that might be with what you're talking about, like the AI, the reach on the media
The
that we
social
have.
media, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that wasn't there before. Like
And you have it
there
in the hands of teenagers and young people who
yes.
are not
Yeah.
yet thinking maybe for themselves, or they haven't yet
Yes.
learned how to do the
Yes.
research or ask the right questions or challenge, what they're
Yeah.
hearing, and and instead they're just scrolling through this stuff, and depending on
Yeah.
whatever the analytics is showing them, like, it's you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's
I
scary.
do.
It's scary. That part's scary to me.
I do. I know. I know. Well, I guess, we can always do what the conspiracy theorists have been talking about, which is move somewhere remote and live off the land.
Yeah.
I could never do that. I'm sorry. I need my amenities. I cannot do that.
You're not
I am
gonna live
not
off the land with
freaking
me?
no. You know what? I love you, but no.
Bring your gun and
I
your water. I'll bring the food.
that's just not happening. I dare you right now to go upstairs and tell Mel that we've made the decision that we're moving to some remote commune and we're going to live off the land. I want to see what her reaction
No, it's
is.
so not happening. Every time we drive, like, anywhere north of the city or whatever, outside of the
Yeah.
city, she's like, "I could never fucking live out here," and I'm like,
No.
"Okay, this is Whitby, honey.
Yeah.
It's not that far." You know what I mean?
It's a
Yeah,
suburb.
it's
She's
called a
like,
suburb. Yeah, total, total.
that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, man.
Oh, this was a great talk, Sila.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed going through all this craziness. It has made me feel a heck of a lot better about my own life.
I know. It's so true, right? So true. Sad
Yeah,
but true.
exactly. All right, until next time. This is Bo.
And this is CeeLo. Thanks for taking a seat at the table today. We love our dinner guests.
Don't forget to subscribe and follow The Dinner Agenda on the podcast platform you use so that you don't miss any new episodes. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Dinner Agenda.
We look forward to hearing your comments, questions, and even ideas you may have on future episodes.
Thanks for taking this journey with us.